Hey, I'm Jade Keogh.
And hello from me too, I'm Grace Seeley.
We both play for the Millwall Lionesses and are sponsored by the No One Likes Us talking team.
Why not sponsor one of our teammates just like they do?
To find out how, just email
kwebster@millwallcommunity.org.uk.
I'll say that again.
kwebster@millwallcommunity.org.uk.
In your email, say who you want to sponsor and we'll get back to you with the sponsorship details and what to do next.
This is all you have to do and it will help us to get back to where we belong. Thank you, guys.
Now, enjoy our Millwall fan show from No One Likes Us talking team.
Come on, Mir.
Hi, Bethany Warren here, and you've joined us for the weekly Our Millwall fan show with the Millwall No One Likes Us talking team, which is broadcast every Friday evening. Enjoy!
Welcome to the 2022-23 series of Millwall's No One Likes Us Talking, our Millwall fan show. I'm your host, Gary Staff, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Patricia Maslin. Hi, Pat.
Hello.
Ted Robinson. Hello, Ted.
Evening, Gary.
And George Lampy. Evening, George.
Hello, Gal. Hello, mate.
Not everybody likes them, but they don't care.
Welcome, everybody. As always, we're going to start off by talking about the Hull City game. But before I do so, I just want to pop out something. A few people on the social media, let's just say that, have been saying 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, all this rubbish. I just want to point out, and Gary Rowett actually mentioned something along the same sort of lines the other day. Last 10 games, 5 wins, 3 draws, 2 defeats. Not bad going. Okay, not championship form, but probably only 2 defeats off championship, 2 draws off championship form. They say win at home, win away, draw away. What are your thoughts, Pat? Because to be honest, I think we've been doing all right. Yes, we probably should have beat Hull, but it was a point saved, I think, rather than lost.
How can you say a point saved? You're at home playing the bottom side.
Yeah, but they've been playing a lot better. And literally since the seniors turned up, they have turned a massive corner. And now, and as George said earlier, they've spent a lot of money this summer.
You've got a manager there who is mid-table, no risk manager, who will guide us into like 12th to 16th place. If you're happy with that for the foreseeable future, predictable, mind-numbing football, then like rock on. I mean, it was so frustrating Saturday. I mean, the guy, his tactics, he took off Honeyman. I mean, he was playing so well with Danny Mack down that wing, linking up really lovely. He takes Saville off for Evans. You got Alafi on the bench. We were like getting on top in the last 10 minutes. And why are you putting midfield on and not bringing another forward on? Possible man of the match, Mitchell, gets taken off for Shackleton. No, I mean, we used to call Wembley our second home. I mean, we put it on Zoopla now because there's no way we're ever going back there, are we? When's the last time we had a decent cup run? Long before Rowett came. I'm sorry, it's not good enough. I don't want middling football, middle of the table every season, having 1 or 2 decent games. I think it's really poor. And if we lose Saturday, we should be looking at changing the manager.
Do you think he makes them changes, Pat, because the guys are running out of steam, or what would you...
Well, Honeyman did hurt his shoulder, but then look what Cresswell went through, and he still played the full match. I don't know.
Pat,
why would you leave?
Pat? Let me just jump in.
Why would you leave Alafi on the bench and bring Evans on?
We drew 0-0 with Birmingham the other day. Birmingham haven't been beat since we played them. We beat Watford 3-0 the other day. Watford haven't been beat since we played them. Everyone is beating everyone in this division. I understand completely what you're saying, Pat, but we can't get rid of him. No, it's not. It's a tough division because everyone beats everyone.
It's just... I mean, imagine if we got promoted this year, by some fluke because everyone's beating everyone. You honestly think that team is worthy of promotion?
No, we'd need extra players, admittedly, but there are players in there that could take the step up. We know that.
And I can't remember the last time I looked forward to an exciting game. I don't go there expecting excitement now. It's great if we win, that's basically it, isn't it? Row it out, we'll win the next 4 or 5 games, and then it'll be back to normal. And it's constant.
Ted, I know you're jumping at the bit. Go on, off you go.
Oh, well, listen, everybody's entitled to their opinion, Gal. I'm being generous there to Pat, because the facts are, Pat, at the end of the day, if we win our game in hand, we'll be in the play. Damn, with this team, it doesn't matter what team you talk about, as long as the team's in there. This is an awkward division in the sense that it's so tight. I mean, West Brom have won a couple of games and started climbing up the table. It's everybody. The fact that the team's bottom of the table means nothing in this division. And Hull have picked up. Gary was right that if you look at their recent performances, they've been reasonably good. Yes, it was frustrating. The only reason it was frustrating because they went down to 10 men and everybody, sort of expects us to win against 10 men. But unfortunately, Millwall have a record not very good against 10 men. I thought we was playing actually better when we was playing against 11 men. But
you should expect to win against the bottom side with 10 men at home.
But hold on, Pat. You're saying about that. Who's got probably the best home record in the division? Millwall.
Yeah.
So Gary Rowett doesn't. He don't do a lot wrong at home. There's one blip. One blip against Hull. Side who are improving, who in my opinion definitely won't be in the bottom 3. But we have one sort of blip, and that was a draw. So Gary quite rightly said, it's a point at least. And Birmingham, when we played them in midweek again, who did they beat the other day? Who did Hull beat on Saturday? On the other night, they beat someone 3-2, didn't they?
Yeah, they beat Cardiff at Cardiff.
Exactly. So these teams, you can't go to a championship game and say we're playing the bottom of the team side and we the fact that they're bottom we're going to win. It doesn't work like that. Now I know you've been a long advocate about the way Rowett's team lines up and the way they play and whatever. But I don't know what you want. We haven't got the players. We haven't got the money to buy the players to play this exciting football that everybody seems to want to see. What I will say is we're playing good football against good sides. And we're challenging, like most of the teams in this division, for the playoffs. But we happen to be a lot closer than a lot of them. And I certainly don't want to be... How many was it? There was some stats come out the other day about there's 10 championship managers have gone. The trouble is at the moment, Pat, there's one game, and if the result don't go a team's way, and it's not only Millwall fans, there's lots of them all around here, they all seem to start shouting for the manager's head. And it's got to stop because it's just not healthy for football, in my opinion. You can't just off the back of 1 or 2 games start
progressed.
It's what
3-year plan that window.
Sorry, Pat. What
did you say, Pat?
I said he gave a 3-year plan. That's gone, isn't it? I mean,
well, no, it's not. He could still win.
Well,
I mean,
in them 3 years, Pat, he's done pretty well, hasn't he?
But what is it? What I don't understand, Pat, and you're not the only one with the sort of opinions that you're coming at. There's quite a few people on social media say this sort of thing. But what I don't get is what it is you want. Because you take Rowett out of the picture and bring in another manager, we could have another Holloway on our hands. We could finish up back in League One. I mean, I don't know what people
one
expect.
Dislikes the man. It's just his tactics are like so defensive. It's like, let's not let them score against us. Oh, last 10 minutes, let's try and score. It's... and he's got a decent team almost there. I mean, you've got players like Danny Mack are absolutely brilliant. And I don't know, it's just not understanding. There's no one in the back room who used to play as a forward. They're all defensive, managerial people, aren't they?
Yeah, but we can compete against any team, and I mean any team, in the championship, right? There's a lot to be said for that because, you could go for what you call attacking football, entertaining football, however you want to describe it, and we could be losing in this division each week 3-2. I would rather see us getting results and playing the way that we're playing rather than watching some of the stuff you have to watch in League One, by the way, where you have to battle your way out of there. I'd rather see us playing the football that we're playing at the moment and trying and maybe not quite succeeding, but we're within fingertips of succeeding, getting ourselves into the playoffs. Because Rowett, whatever anybody says, I don't think you can argue against how he's kept us in the Championship to start with.
No, nor do I. I think he's. I mean, you talk about the last.
You know, each season you're going to finish between 12th and 16th, don't you?
Well, no, Pat. If you look for the last 3 seasons, we've actually finished above 10th.
Yeah, which is some going, Pat, isn't it? I mean, I know what you're saying about Rowett, and I do share some of them. I think, if anything, Rowett is more of a defensive manager than an attacking manager. I think, and you quoted him making them changes at the end. I've always noticed that he will go for he will settle for what we've got at a certain point and bring on players like Evans and that to settle for that point. But I don't think we can moan about the 3 seasons that he's done us proud. I think, considering what sort of money and finance he has, I think you've been, I don't disagree with you about the football is not as exciting as I would like to see it, but I think Ted makes a very good point that we're a match for anybody in this division. And I think Rowett has got the best squad that we've had for a long time at Millwall. Surely even you would agree with that.
Well, let's look at the squad. How many players has he actually brought in who are playing? 3 out of Harris's squad, basically.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no one he's brought in, apart from Fleming, who we could probably sell for a profit.
Or Volkshammer.
Yeah.
Oh, come off it. He's done nothing so far.
Hold on a minute, Pat. Well, Steve Morrison didn't score for his first 20 games for Millwall.
Yeah, it's true.
What are you bringing that up for? What's that got to do with it?
Because everyone's slagging off Volkshammer. He's not done much.
Gary, don't you start moaning about Steve Morrison.
I'll be the first to congratulate him if he starts scoring every game.
And he will do. I will hold my hands up. I'll apologise if he doesn't, but he's come from another country. OK, Fleming's done a little, acclimatised a little bit better, but he's playing out of position on the right wing, and he's got to get used to the English football.
Could I mention something about Volkshammer?
He's playing out of position.
Can I mention something about Volkshammer? I think he ought to play as a forward, right in the middle.
Yeah, and he played well the other night when he did that.
Yeah, I think he would do well there, actually, and I don't think Rowett is keen to put him there, but I think he would do well, actually. And I think you do have to bear in mind that, I think are about the most expensive team in this league, aren't they, when it comes to spending money in the closed season? So, they really did spend quite a bit of money, and I didn't think they were a bad team, actually. I don't know what you guys thought, but I know you're saying, Pat, they ain't done very well lately, but I thought they looked a decent side.
Yeah. Right. On that, we'll let Pat have a go because she's got a couple of things.
Your money's worth there.
Yeah, we've all got our money's worth. We'll let Pat have a quick chat with us about a couple of things she wants to mention.
Most Millwall supporters know of Chris Bethel and that his wife Eileen passed away unexpectedly a few weeks ago. Eileen's Just Giving memorial page raised a fantastic sum of £2,500.
Brilliant.
The programme team added another £500 to that total, and Chris handed over the money to a Kent-based cancer charity last Saturday. Just wanted to make people aware that the money they give for the programme, profits will go back to good causes, and thank you to all those people who overpay and won't take change. That money helps too.
Fantastic. Well done.
Does that include me, Pat?
What? You want to pay out? You're already at the food bank.
Right, guys, we'll take a break there and hear about our sponsor, G&M Motors.
Our Millwall Fan Show is sponsored by family business G&M Motors of Gravesend and Meopham in Kent. They are Millwall fans too. They've been Honda dealers for over 50 years. At G&M Motors Gravesend, you can purchase a new Honda. At both Gravesend and Meopham, they have a combined range of over 150 quality used cars and ex-demonstrators to suit all budgets and lifestyles. They also offer a comprehensive range of repair and maintenance services to ensure your vehicle stays reliable, safe, and retains a higher value with trust. G&M Motors, Gravesend and Meopham are dear friends of the Julians family. From Lenny to Debbie, and also our Millwall fan show.
I'm Gary Staff, and I'm your host, and I'm with the No One Likes a Talking team of Patricia Maslin, Ted Robinson, and George Lampy. We are most grateful to our sponsor G&M Motors, who are celebrating 50 years of trading. Our first guest this evening was born in Yorkshire, the Yorkshire town of Castleford in 1985. He's a midfielder who has played over 500 games for a few clubs up and down the country, including Scunthorpe, Bristol City, Sheffield United, Fleetwood, and of course Millwall. He played 79 times for the Lions, scoring 11 times. In June 2021, he hung up his boots due to injury. Welcome to the show, Martyn Woolford.
Thank you very much. Thanks for inviting me on.
No worries. We finally got there in the end, Martyn, after a few stops and starts, didn't we, mate?
Yeah, apologies. I double booked, but in my defence, it was my birthday one of the times that I had to cancel on you. So I do apologise for that, and glad to finally get on.
Any excuse, Martyn?
Oh, dear.
Anyone would have really changed their birthday for us, really. But, you know what I mean?
Really sort of decent, wouldn't it?
Oh dear, Martyn, before I hand you over to these rabble, you joined the Lions in January 2013 from Bristol City. How did that all come about, and what was the story behind it, mate?
So that season I'd actually started really well, but wasn't at the time, coming up to January, I wasn't seeing eye to eye with the manager, and I'd found myself out of the team after having a really good start, which was obviously highly disappointing when you feel like you're having a good run of form, and then you find yourself what felt to me at the time as unjust being out of the team. So I would just literally pull into the training ground one of the days, and the phone rang, and I got a Cockney voice on the end of it saying, "It's Kenny Jackett. I want you to come and play for me." So I'm like, okay. Obviously, absolutely delighted when someone takes the time to ring you personally, because it usually comes from agents and stuff like that. So that straight away were a great first impression, and to know that somebody's keen and wants you to come and play, especially for a club like Millwall, and it was a huge sort of I don't know what the word is. I don't know how to put it into words, but it was very. It was great to get that phone call, to be honest, especially the time that we're in at the
As
time.
a player, Martyn, that sort of January period, is it unnerving for players? It's actually quite a question I've never really asked before of players. But do you feel that month, like there's always saying, oh, am I doing enough here to stay, or am I looking, is someone going to take me away from this? Is that always in the back of your mind during that period?
There is, because I've had it kind of in two different circumstances, really, because I had it at Scunthorpe. I moved to Bristol in January, and that was a different circumstance because I was doing really well at the time. And
we know you scored against us.
Yeah.
No need to rub it in, Martyn.
Unforgivable.
But yeah, I mean, that one I was doing really well, and then the agent's sort of in your ear saying this club's interested, that club's interested. So you're kind of trying to ignore it at that point because you just want to keep the run of form going. But at Bristol, it were a different circumstance because, like I say, I felt like I was unjustly out of the team, to be honest. So I'm kind of, in that sense, not seeing eye to eye with the manager. I'm kind of hoping something's going to come along in a sense. As much as I love Bristol, I love the city. I like to say the fact that as a player you just want to play the game. So I kind of had half an eye, hoping that something was coming in there. But it is unsettling because, like I say, whether you're playing really well, you're just trying to focus and play your game, or whether the other circumstance you're out of the team, it's kind of like half of you is wanting to focus on getting your head down and get yourself back in the team, but the other half's thinking, well, actually, I kind of hope someone comes along here. And like I say, well, it was nice that Millwall did.
Yeah. Hello, Martyn. It's Pat here. You were ever present. Hi. You was ever present with us during your time with us. What was your favourite memories? I think I can guess of your time with the Lions.
It's got to be the goal at the end of the first season there that against Bournemouth, was it? That kept the club up. I think that was the sigh of relief after, obviously, you've already mentioned scoring against you in the playoff final. I think that was the weight off the shoulders. Hopefully full forgiveness at that point, but yeah, I think that was the moment. Yeah.
Martyn, George here, mate.
How we doing?
Hello. Kenny Jackett signed you in the January, and unfortunately he left at the end of that season. Of course, he was replaced by Ian Holloway. What was that period like?
I really enjoyed that. I know it's controversial with the Millwall fans, but I really liked playing under Ian Holloway. And that first season when he came in, we were sort of dead and buried at the end of that season, and we needed to sort of, I think it was something like 8 games to go, and I think we needed to win 7 of them at least, and we managed to do so. So it kind of got off to a really, really good start. And then even the following season, we set off really well, and I think we had some injuries in. I think we lost Carlos Edwards, who were quite a pivotal player, especially in the system that Ian played, and I think that's where it started to sort of come undone a little bit. Having losing a couple of key players in the areas and the way that Ian wanted to play, it kind of wasn't feasible to play that style of football anymore. And then I think it kind of led from one thing to another, trying to rescue it and change. And I think in the end, he was going against what he actually wanted to do. And it just went from bad to worse in the end. I get that. But to start with, when he came in, like I say, the attention to detail on the training ground, for me, playing day in, day out, it were actually a really enjoyable period in the beginning. Obviously, not so towards the end, because even as a player on the pitch at that point, everything you try, it's not. You're just not getting the results. It's you feel like you're treading water, and it became a difficult period. So it were kind of two sides of the coin there for me. Were really, really sort of good to start with and enjoyable off the pitch and on initially, and then did he change different tactics all the time, Martyn? I always got the impression he was changing the formation of the team all the time. Was I wrong in that? Well, to start with, I don't think so, no, and I don't think that's what he intended to do. I think it was, he had his style of play, and like I say, you needed... it felt like everybody was singing off the same hymn sheet to start with. It was really clear on what your roles were in the team. Everybody knew where the other lads were, and it at that point, it didn't seem to be changing too much. Like I said, then I think the injuries forced a couple of changes in the first instance, and then after that, I would say yes, like absolutely. Then I think it was kind of scrambling a little bit when you're not getting the results. You then start to try things, and I think that's what he was doing. I think at that point, he was chopping and changing all the time, trying to fix something, because the way that he wanted to play were no longer feasible with the lads that we had to fit. So. Like I said, then it went to just go in sort of long ball and direct in the end, which is not what Ian were about. And like I said, then at that point towards the end, it definitely was. Yeah, it was chopping and changing all the time, and it was very sort of unsettling. It was hard to get that rhythm back, which is a shame, because like I say, I think if we'd have stayed with the initial squad fully fit to start with, then I think it'd have been a different story.
Hi, Martyn, it's Ted here. All right, mate.
Hi,
Ted. Yeah, just listening to what you're saying about Ian Holloway, I'm always a bit fascinated, because I went to a fans forum when Ollie was our manager, and he started out what was supposed to be, I think, a motivational speech to the fans, and it started off well when I think everybody was getting wound up and ready for it. And but by the time he finished, we was marching through the mud in the First World War somewhere, and everyone was looking at one another thinking, what the bloody hell is this guy going on about? Is that how he sort of came across in the changing room? Because I thought to myself, it was nice and clear to start with, and listening to what you said there, it was like he couldn't adapt you players to what he wanted in the finish, if you know what I mean. It was there to start with, and then it all went a bit wrong.
Possibly. I think what you've just said there summed him up quite well, to be honest, because to be perfectly honest, he is as he comes across on TV, which is absolutely mad as a box of frogs. But that was part of his. It was. There's no hiding behind that. Some of the so he'd be dancing about on the training ground and in meetings he'd get sidetracked into going off onto different stories, exactly like you just said there. But as a person, he's got a lot of banter about him, and he made being around the training ground and being around the changing room really enjoyable. I think what you're sort of getting at there is, in the end, I don't think he was clear on what he wanted to do or what he needed to do to fix the bad run of form. In the like I say, initially, it was very clear of what we wanted to do. Yeah, he'd go off on a tangent in meetings and get sidetracked into some random story. He would do that all the time. That was part of his personality, and it were hilarious at times. It was funny, but yeah, I think it was as the results started to go against us. I think that's where it became unclear of how we get out of that. But I've got a lot of time for Ollie. Like I say, I did enjoy the time under there, and I think it could have been a totally different. We could have been talking about him in a completely different light if we'd have kept a fit squad, I think.
I know you've mentioned the goal against Bournemouth, but I'm going to ask you about another goal you scored, only because I know you've told me it before, but I love hearing about anything about beating Leeds, and you scored one of the goals against Leeds, didn't you?
Do you know what? When we moved on from that question, I thought, I missed my chance to mention the Leeds goal. Absolutely.
As a Castleford lad, I know you wouldn't have forgotten about it.
No, not at all. Most of my mates are Leeds fans as well, so I absolutely love that one. My dad had that the goal celebration of that, a picture of me celebrating that goal on his phone case for years after that, so he could wind all his mates up as well.
There's some atmosphere in them games, though, Martyn, aren't they?
Yeah, do you know what? The atmosphere, in those games in particular, but generally speaking, down at the Den, and even the away crowd, it's something that will stick with me. It's part of the reason Millwall is one of my favourite clubs to have played against, if not to play with. Sorry, if not the favourite, to be honest, just for that atmosphere. And I know, like I say, the fans sometimes get a bad reputation, if anything, for taking things a little bit too far.
We're enthusiastic, Martyn. We're enthusiastic.
I would say that, and like I say, I went in there probably not a fan's favourite initially. I've got to say the support that I got from the Millwall fans throughout my time there was something that will stick with me. I think there's nothing like the Den with a full crowd behind you.
Well, I cannot help but say I did used to shout a few swear words at you, Martyn. Then you scored against Leeds, and you was my favourite player after that. I can't deny that, and so I do apologise for the swear words. My eyes were blinded, I think. But
no problem at all. It's part of the game. I'm glad that it's now a positive memory rather than a negative one.
As a Castleford lad, you must be watching the Rugby League World Cup, aren't you?
I'm not, to be honest. And to be fair, if my dad listens to this, he'll be going mad at you calling me a Castleford lad, because there's a big rivalry between Castleford and Featherstone. I know someone's put on Wikipedia or whatever it is that I am from Castleford, but I'm not. I'm Featherstone. I was born in Pontefract. It's
oh my God! You mean we've been prodding you all this time about Castleford?
Yeah. Exactly, and I'll get my dad to listen to it. He'll be absolutely fuming, because it is it's big rugby.
Yeah, I know Featherstone, and I've been to sort of rugby league a bit. I know the rivalry about them, and well, I do apologise. We'll have to sack the researcher on our team who's been doing all these.
No, just blame Wikipedia. That's what I used.
Yeah, exactly. Wikipedia doesn't need changing, to be fair. It does say it on there, but no, I'm actually the black sheep in the family. Both my dad and my granddad played rugby. My granddad was the better of the two. He's the all-time try scoring record at Featherstone Rovers when they were in the top flight. So,
is he really?
I am from a rugby family, but I got my dad much preferred football as much as he played it. as much as he played rugby, he preferred football. So I always just got brought up on
Well,
football.
I could see you as from a rugby fan with the way you play football, mate. So.
Yeah, is that a compliment? I'm not sure.
You can see why you're abused now, can't you, Martyn?
Now you've already answered my second question, Martyn, about the rugby. I'll go on to. I've heard you say Scott Malone is one of your favourite Millwall players. Are you still in touch? Now he's still playing for us.
Every now and again, to be honest, it's I haven't spoken to him in quite some time. I did bump into him. I've lost track of how many years it will have been now, to be honest. I do keep in touch every now and again. It's not regular contact, I must admit. But yeah, he's one of the ones that every now and again we just touch base, see how we are, and
was it a surprise to see him come back?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I was surprised. I was quite pleased for him, to be honest. I don't think he really hit it off anywhere, having left Millwall anyway. So it was kind of nice to see him sort of back, because, like I say, he was one of my favourite players there, playing on the same side of him, on the left side, and he pretty much became the winger at that point. He overlapping me and linking up, and to see him playing really well and then not really hit the ground running when he moved on. It was kind of nice to see him back there. I don't know. I've obviously not seen any games. I don't know how he's performing at the minute, but I know he's a great player, and I'm hoping that it's
well, just the play, yeah.
Yeah, it's all right.
Was you responsible for his dress sense, Martyn?
Absolutely not. Don't give me
I remember speaking to him once at an end of season dinner. He said, "I wouldn't have dressed like this if it weren't for Martyn Woolford." He said to me,
"Yeah, that is absolutely not true." So, yeah, he was still wearing them stuff despite me telling him not to, I think.
You need to speak to him now. He's trying to grow a moustache for Meopham, mate.
He had some horrendous beard.
Yeah, well, he looks like something that would have been thrown out of a spaghetti western, mate. At the moment, he just don't look like.
Good calls,
He had a horrendous wispy beard when I was there. So, but yeah,
well, it's
like
just a wispy moustache, but it's.
Martyn, when you joined us, was it a little bit strange after scoring that playoff goal, or do footballers not really bother about things like that? You know.
I weren't really bothered, to be honest. Not that I didn't have it in my mind; I weren't aware of it. And to be fair, I can remember coming to the first home game, and one of the fans, it might have been one of you guys, to be honest.
It was Ted, I think. Yeah.
Shut up, George.
Turned up on a match day, and it were kind of like, "Welcome, Woolford," but you ours. Like, okay. Yeah. So yeah, it was very much known. I was very much made aware that they're not forgotten. So,
well, I tell you, I put a curse on Scunthorpe that day at Wembley. And where are they now? See, you're lucky you come and scored that goal against Leeds. Otherwise, you could have been there with them, mate.
But it just shows you, that's a very sliding door moment, though, Ted, isn't it? Really, considering then 2 years later when we played them. Is it 2 years later?
Played them. Well, that playoff when we beat them in the semi-final, the playoff, and look what's happened since then. They've just gone down and down, Scunthorpe, haven't they?
They're in the conference now, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a shame. I got invited. To be the special guest there a couple of months ago, and it was such a shame. The football were horrendous. They were bottom of the conference as well, and
they're struggling, aren't they, Martyn? They're struggling in the conference as well.
I watched two. I can't remember. There were two bottom of the conference teams playing against each other, and they got beat. And I just thought, wow, it's such a shame to see where. I mean, they were always overachieving when we were there. They were never really a championship club. So for them to do that kind of, they had a promotion and they got relegated, and we went back up again. They were never a championship club. They were always overachieving there massively. But to be sort of in and around League One, like, were probably where they should be, and it's just a shame to see them.
invited back to Millwall as a special guest, Martyn?
I haven't yet. You'll have to put the word out.
You couldn't make it up.
You might have to wait till we're in the conference for that, mate.
Is that what it is? Wait till they're falling to the conference and they're scraping the barrel and ring me. Is that what it is?
No, listen, when we're playing Leeds next year, whether that's the Premier or what's it, I'll make sure you get there as a special guest, mate. You can come to it as my special guest if they won't take you, Millwall.
Deal. I'll hold you to that.
Means you have to go to the pub with him first, Martyn. That's the only trouble.
No, not a problem.
You go, Harry.
I've got a story about I've got a pub story. If you want me to go in there.
Yeah, go on.
Oh, we love a pub story. Go on.
So when I'd left and then gone and signed for Sheffield United, I were having a really poor season. We all were, but I was one of Adkins' signings, and we were getting the brunt of the blame for Sheffield United's bad season, and I was having a poor season. I'll give him that. But I were injured at the time when Sheffield United played Millwall away, and my dad still goes to the odd Millwall game. He's become a bit of a fan. Made a few mates down there, so I jumped on the train with my dad down to London, and we had a few drinks making his way through London. And I can't remember what the pub name is, but there's one before you get on the train out to the Den. And it is a Millwall pub, but I didn't know. My dad just was like, "Oh yeah, we'll go in here." So I've walked in, and all the Millwall fans come straight over. "Oh, Martyn Woolford, yeah," like asking to get pictures and stuff. It was really, really flattering. And then some guy walked past me, and he was like, "Are you Martyn Woolford?" I was like, "Yeah." He says, started swearing at me straight away. "You shouldn't effing be in here. What the f are you doing in here?" And they pointed to a little like Sheffield United badge on his coat. Having a right go at me. My dad lost his head instantly, so he's shouting back at this guy. It's all kicking off in the pub, saying, "Dad, just calm down, leave it. We're in the middle of London." Anyway, the guy finally went round it, and I turned round, and all the Millwall fans were sort of lined up behind me. They were like, "Don't worry, Woolford, if that had kicked off, we had you back." So I'm in a pub there with the team that I'm playing for trying to kill me, and the away team actually had my back. So yeah, it's another flattering moment.
You must have caught them on a very polite day, Martyn, because normally they would have just thumped him anyway for having a badge with Sheffield United on it. So.
Yeah, I know, it was the tiniest little badge you've ever seen, and he did sort of keep it.
Well, on that, Martyn, before we let you go, we got to ask you about the Preston game deep out the weekend. How do you think the Lions are going to get on?
They've been in a great run of form recently, haven't they, until the last couple of games, but hopefully they pick that form back up. They're on the cusp. Am I right in thinking they've got a game in hand that could take them touching on the playoffs? Am I right in thinking that?
If they win that game in end, they'll be in the playoffs, I think. Yeah.
So no, I'm hoping they've got that bit between the teeth a little bit, and I think I'm hoping for a positive result, and I'm predicting 1-2. I think they'll win despite being away from home. I think it'll be a close game, but I think 1-0 to Millwall.
We'll all take that.
Do us.
Yes.
Martyn, absolute pleasure. And we will get you on again soon, definitely, because I think there's a lot more stories where that last one come from as well.
No problem at all. Thank you very much for inviting me on, and happy to jump back on anytime.
Fantastic. Thanks, Martyn.
Cheers, Martyn.
Thanks, Martyn.
Cheers, Martyn.
Cheers, Martyn. Bye. We'll take a break there and listen to the Lions Food Hub.
Let's hear from Harvey Brown.
Have you heard of the Lions Food Hub? That Millwall Lioness, Kelly Webster, is involved. Don't forget to help the Lions Food Hub if you can. Thank you.
As Harvey said, they need your support. If you can help, and you can make a one-off or a regular monetary donation at Banquet, that is BANKUET. You will find them online. Insert www.banquet.co.uk/Lions Food Hub into your browser. I'll say that again. www.banquet.co.uk/Lions Food Hub. And the Lions Food Hub is all one word. On match days, you can make food and toiletry donations at the Lions Food Hub, which is opposite the 1885 bar at the Cold Blow Lane end of the ground. Alternatively, you can also contact the team via the Lions Food Hub Twitter or Facebook sites.
I'm your host, Gary Staff, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Patricia Maslin, Ted Robinson and George Lampy. Energy and food poverty is rising beyond our wildest dreams from 12 months ago and will not decrease but only increase again. However, your kindness will be much appreciated and lessen the burden of many families at risk. So, next up, let's hear from Ellis Barr. Did you enjoy our fireworks night? Keep us posted on what you're up to, Ellis.
Ellis here. Thank you for watching my videos. Now to hear what the Millwall Lionesses and Romans have been up to, and to hear who is next up for Gary Rowett and the Lions. Come on, Millwall!
First up, Eamon caught up with Paul Loading and he spoke about Romans and the Pride.
I've got Paul Loading here, the General Manager of Millwall Romans and Pride. Paul, how did it go this last weekend?
Hi all, it's due to the weather. The Pride game over at Hackney Marshes was called off. The Romans game, obviously, at home, St Paul's on the all-weather pitch was still on, subject to a slight delay due to the bad weather. But we did manage to kick off, and it was a very, very wet afternoon. We didn't really play our best in the first half. We played Stokey FC. They looked a lot more organised than us, particularly across the midfield. They seemed to know what they were doing. We were a bit sort of hit and hope, and it didn't really flow very well for us in the first half. We went into half-time 1-0 down, chasing the game. I think we came out the second half a lot more up for it. I think we needed a bit of a talking to, and manager Rob Barr certainly did that at half-time. And we just sort of kept pressing and pressing, created some good chances, didn't manage to secure anything. It didn't look like it was going to be our afternoon. However, we did, in the 87th minute, manage to nick a goal, which, to be honest, I think in all fairness to Stokey, a draw would have probably been a fair result, but we just kept pushing and pushing, and 2 minutes later in the 89th minute managed to score a second. So it's a great 3 points to pick up. Again, probably not our best performance. It's nice to sort of have a nice win out of that.
Well, that's what they call a barnstorming into a game, coming from 1-0 down and in the last 3 minutes managing to score 2 goals and take all the points. Well done. So, what's coming up for the sides this week?
Looking forward to this weekend. Pride are on a break due to this being a GFSN weekend. The GFSN quarterfinals are all being held this Saturday out in Milton Keynes. We've been drawn against Village Manchester, big rivals of ours. They beat us in the semi-finals earlier on this year, and we lost to them in the final the year before. They are a very, very strong side. Manchester actually host 5 teams out of that club, and they pick their best players from the 5 teams across all levels. They are a very strong side. We can't deny it. We're just going to go out there and play our game. Obviously, with new manager, Rob likes playing the 3 at the back with the wing backs, and then packing the midfield with 3 centre midfielders and then 2 up front. So Manchester very strong in the midfield, and hopefully we'll match them this weekend and just go out there and play our game. But I think it's going to be very much, we're going in as, I think, the underdogs, but we're definitely up for it, and we definitely want to be at least in the final this year again.
Well, we wish you all the best in that GFSN Cup and beat that Village Manchester 3rd time lucky. Anyway, talking about beating people, how about a prediction for Millwall away at Preston North End?
Prediction for this weekend, obviously not the best game apparently. It's on Saturday against Hull. Playing away this week, Wet Preston, quite far up the table. My predictions have been very off in the last few weeks, but I can't go against them. So let's say a Millwall 1-0.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate that. And that'll do me too. Back to the studio.
1-0 seems to be very popular at the moment. Our roving reporter Jeff Burnage filed a report on the Lionesses.
This is Jeff Burnage reporting on Millwall Lionesses. The Lionesses completed their perfect 10 victories on the trot by defeating a rather impressive Richmond Park 4-0 on Sunday. This was the first of 3 successive cup matches, this one being in the London and South East Regional League Cup. Manager Jack Wheeler made 5 changes for this tie against lower opposition Richmond, with those rested on the subs bench, including 5 of the players likely to figure in next week's big FA Cup tie with National League Gillingham. With the regular front 3 among those rested, it was 27 minutes before Shana Jordani opened the scoring. It was Jordani's first goal of the season and first start of the season since being injured in a pre-season friendly back in August. Then, on 30 minutes, a great Jade Keogh through ball was met by Lucy Gellert, who fired home. Millwall continued to press for a third goal in the second half, but it took a triple switch on the hour with 3 front strikers in Angel Reid, Cadence Kabadaki and Otisha Charles coming on to liven up the game. On 71 minutes, Kabadaki scored with a powerful shot from the edge of the area, and then on 89 minutes, Millie Penfold added the 4th with a great run and shot. The squad can now prepare in training for the big match with Gillingham next Sunday.
Cheers, Jeff. And next up, we have Stan Godwin, who was at the Den on Monday, I think it was, when the under-21s hosted Colchester United.
This is Stan Godwin here, reporting from the Den, covering the under-21 Development League game between Millwall and Colchester. We ran out at the end of the game 4-1 winners. Goals were scored by Nana Boateng and Abdul Malik. After about 10 minutes, we went 1 goal up after Abdul Malik opened the scoring with a well-drilled shot past the goalkeeper. Colchester drew level about 5 minutes later. The equaliser was a good one, but a slip in the defence let Colchester in before the second goal just before half-time. In the second half, the Lions were in full control, increasing the lead to 4-1. The 4th was a penalty. Our goal scorers again were Boateng and Abdul Malik. Millwall was awarded another penalty shortly after, going 4-1 up, but unfortunately that was missed. At the end of the day, Millwall run out fully deserved winners. They was always in total control of the game.
Thanks, Stan. George, what did you make of what Paul Loading had to say about the Romans and the Pride this weekend?
Well, the first thing is, I was just imagining how horrible it must be getting soaking wet on Hackney Marshes, actually, which I'm sure I would have done at some stage in my football career. But,
career.
Yes. No, I do have a football career at some time. Yes.
That's stretching it a bit, George, calling it a career. God almighty.
Oh, okay, all right. I might have got that terminology wrong. All right, okay.
You was the one standing there taking the goalposts out and in, weren't you? You never actually played.
Bring the oranges along.
I wondered why they brought me along every week. I wondered why that was. But no, and then Paul talking about the game, 2-1, 2 goals in the last, 3 minutes? Blimey, that must have been a great occasion. So, yeah, I'm just glad the guys are doing well. I must get down to see the Romans. I'm a big fan of theirs, actually, and they seem to be doing so well in the Pride. So, yeah, I must get down there. I think it's all going really well, actually. Yeah.
Fair enough. And Ted, what about old Stan's report there from the under-21s?
Well, they've been impressive, Gal, haven't they? Probably only one more impressive team than them at the moment, and that's the Lionesses. But the under-21s, I'll tell you what I was really pleased to see was Nana Boateng scoring a couple of goals, because I still have this picture of that guy when he came on for us against Palace and the ball flew across the box and he missed it by an inch. And since then, I think he's had his injuries and whatever. So it's nice to know that Nana's back and scoring goals. And Abdul Malik's another one to look out for. They're not only winning games, the under-21s, they're winning them by pretty good margins as well. So it all bodes well to have these young lads showing their talents off in the under-21s. And maybe it might not be too long before we see one or two of them coming up into the senior side. But let's hope they continue their form as what they're showing at the moment, because it is very good at the moment.
Well, they're in second place at the moment behind Bristol, who are 4 points above them, but have played one game more. And in third, I think Swansea are 8 points behind them. But there's a bit of a gap and buffer there. Pat, the Lionesses, 10 out of 10.
It is. Absolutely. Saying it every week now. The women are flying. 10 in a row. 5 out of their last 6 with clean sheets. Big game coming up Saturday. I mean, we praise the women every week now, but I think we should give a bit of praise to Jack Wheeler and his management team. He's certainly turning that into a very professional setup and good foundation for the future. And hopefully I'll actually be there Sunday with my camera.
Woo! Woo!
I won't try.
Next up,
I might come along then, Pat. You could take a picture of me.
Oh, that's nice. Right, on that, I'm moving on. Next up for the Lions is a trip to Deepdale to play for Preston. The Lily Whites have had a reasonable start to the season, which sees them sitting 6th in the league, 3 points above us, but we have got a game in hand. In the last 5, they have won 4 and lost 1 to Blackpool at Bloomfield Road. Preston North End manager Ryan Lowe said after the defeat against Reading on Saturday, his side targeted Reading defensively at crosses to cause the Royals problems. That is what sides have done to us of late, as well as blocking out Cooper and Cresswell in attack. Their home form is impressive. Can we keep another clean sheet? Can we score goals for a recovery of form for the Lions? Pat, Ted, George, I'll go with you, Pat, first.
Oh, thank you. I do like going first. Well, luckily Troy Barrett's out, so we ain't got to worry about him. Not that we would anyway. Chad Evans will be, he's playing well. Wouldn't want him in my team either. Preston are looking for 4 straight wins in the Championship, so I just think our away form is dire. I think it's the worst in the Championship, isn't it?
But that's the type of game we normally win, isn't it, Pat?
Well, we do, but our form isn't predicting that way, is it? At best, I'm hoping for a 0-0 because I would never put Millwall to lose, but I think we'll be good coming away with a point.
Fair enough. George, I'll go you next.
Oh, right, okay. Well, I've never known it be easy at Preston. I've never known a game be easy at Preston. I think we're fairly hard to beat. I know our away form speaks for itself. I reckon it'll be a draw. I reckon it'll be a 1-1 draw.
And Ted?
Yeah, Preston isn't easy. You're right, George. And they have come into a little bit of form. They were struggling to score goals earlier in the season, but they seem to have picked up 1 or 2 here and there recently in that. But I don't know. I just think we're within touching distance of performing well away from home. And I just got this feeling we might well come away with, I'm not going to say easy, but a comfortable 2-0 win.
I think we'd all take that. And I'm with Ted, I think. I think he is coming. We have been playing well away from home recently, and I'll go 2-0 as well. I'll sit with Ted. We'll take a break there and hear what the fantastic fanatics have been up to and what they can do with a little bit of help from ourselves.
Hi, I'm Richard Gordon, and I'd like to invite you to become a Fantastic Fanatic. Fantastic Fanatics is a great way to raise funds for your sports club. Sign up today, find your club, and securely register your everyday debit and credit cards. Every time you spend with our retail partners, they pay a percentage back to your club. It costs you nothing, and you can win cash prizes along the way. Visit fantasticfanatics.com and help your club be the best it can be.
I'm your host, Gary Staff, and with me, I have the No One Likes Us talking team of Patricia Maslin, Ted Robinson, and George Lampy. With Christmas a mere 44 days away, why not spend on gifts through the Fantastic Fanatics site and give a bonus to the Millwall Community Trust? It will help them deliver the many activities they do across all age groups. Our final guest works in the world of corporate taxation, but gets her kits on the football field. She's played at the Women's World Championship level and this season joined the Millwall Lionesses, who has just secured 10 wins in 10 in succession in Cup and League and sit in top of their division in Tier 5. With only personal stats, here is a woman whose contribution to the Lionesses is clear to see, with 4 goals, 4 assists, 3 kicks and corners. Let's welcome Jade Keogh to the show. Welcome, Jade.
Hello, hi, everyone. Hello, everyone.
Hello, Jade.
Hi, Jade.
Cool. Jade, before I let you off to the panel, George hates me saying that, by the way.
George just hates you, Gal. Don't
I know. I'm getting that this week.
I just hate everybody, don't I?
What was it like getting involved in women's football? Was it an easy task? What age did you start playing women's football?
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect.
Hi, Jade.
Great. Sorry, I didn't know if you could hear. So I started playing football at around 8 years old. So I grew up. My mum was taking me to like gymnastics and ballet, and one day I just turned around and said, "Can I go and play football?" She was a bit taken aback by it. But yeah, I went down to my local club. I remember walking down in my like metal studs, all ready to go. And I actually done all right, to be fair. Like I got started with the girls there, and the coach said I was quite good, so kind of took off from there and played in primary school with like the boys and stuff. And then got spotted by Charlton when I was young, so kind of I know. So it kind of just went off from there, really. So yeah.
Excellent.
Right. Hello, Jade. It's Pat here.
Hi, Pat.
I first started playing 50 years ago now, 1972.
You sure?
Oh God! I'm
sure it were before that.
I think she's knocked 10 years off, George. Knocked 10 years off.
That's all right. Yeah, she's lying. She's lying, Jade.
We had to put up with a lot of chauvinism and comments, obviously, back in 72. Just like you do now.
Yeah.
We hope so much has improved. Lots more opportunities for young girls and women to develop in the game. I mean, you told us about your own progress, but have you played for any other clubs apart from Millwall and Charlton? And what positions are your favourite?
Yeah, so originally, I went to a Charlton trial and joined Charlton, but I didn't really enjoy it very much. It was quite serious. So ended up playing Sunday League for a few years. So stayed there till I was 14, and then felt like I was ready to go back into kind of serious like academy football. So I went back to Charlton, and then stayed there till I was 17, where I played striker. And at 17, I moved on to Gillingham. So I've been at Gillingham for actually 10 years. Well, was at Gillingham for 10 years, which is why Sunday just means so much to me. But we'll come on to that after. So yes, Gillingham for 10 years. Played different positions. So I ended up going as a right winger, and then I feel like as I've got older and older, I've kind of got further and further back through the pitch. So then played centre mid. I went to Crystal Palace for a season within those 10 years. It was a couple of years ago. I went to Crystal Palace just to kind of like see how far I could kind of push football, because Crystal Palace are like the second tier of women's football, so it was a bit more serious again there. But I was playing there at the same time I was doing my accounting exams, so it kind of got in the way and wasn't able to kind of fully commit to football. So I ended up going back to Gillingham for a season, and then this summer, just moved to Millwall, where I now play centre back. So literally gone around the whole pitch and been around quite a few teams. But yeah, at Millwall now, and I'm loving life. So yeah,
give it 2 seasons, Jade. You'll be in goal. Don't worry about it.
I'll never be in goal. I'm not brave
they make you a linesman, Jade. That's what you have to do.
Lineswoman.
George never
had. Sorry. That's what they used to put me. That's what I was thinking.
Not really. No, my hat goes off to any linesman, goalkeeper. Goalkeepers are crazy in my eyes. I can never be a goalie. But yeah,
no, that's right.
My position now.
Right,
so,
it's Ted here.
Hiya, Ted.
All right. Just before I ask a question, I want to know: was you sitting next to Jeff Burnage when he was doing his report? Only all of a sudden, out of the blue, Jade Keogh done a fantastic through ball for someone to score. Was that you nudging him in the ribs or something as he was doing making his report out?
That's exactly what was happening.
But the Lionesses are showing some incredible form with their 10 wins on a spin, I must admit. And what do you put that down to, and what side present you the biggest challenge in you finishing top of the league this year? I mean, I know and I understand through when I was playing football, I wasn't linesman, I used to play. You're getting a sort of run of things that you feel that you sort of become unbeatable at a time. Is that how the girls are feeling at the moment?
Yeah, 100%. I think this season, I know you guys mentioned Jack Wheeler before. I think he's done a great job, and I've known Jack for a long time. He's got quite a good connection with the women's game and knows like quite a lot of players. So he's managed to get like some really decent players down to Millwall. And I think there's a really good mix this season of youth players and young girls coming through the under 18s, but then also experienced girls that have come in as well. So it's like I've played against teams where there's a lot of youngsters and there's a lot of energy, but they haven't got that experience to be able to, you know, get through games when it's a bit tough, or the last ending parts of the game when things are not going right. You sometimes need your experienced girls to kind of pick everyone else up. So I think this season we've got a really good balance of that, and just the team morale. Like, we try and do things outside of football as well. So like go out for dinner and just make sure that we're one team. And like, we know that as soon as we step on that pitch, each and every player on that pitch is going to have each other's back. And I think it's just a really nice environment to be in. It's really professional. Like, as we've said before, like, we're tier 5, but we train and play like we're a tier 2, tier 3 side. And I think that's what kind of sets us above the rest in the league. But saying that, there are like some big games to come in the league, like Fulham, Ebbsfleet, Worthing, teams that, you know, will be very difficult, and we'll be as best prepared as we possibly can going into those games. And I guess, as you said, having momentum on your side can help, you know, having that kind of like winning formula. Like, we know that we can win games, so that does definitely help.
Well, to get to the next level, Jade, what you have to do, don't go out for dinner, go out down a pub for a night out. That used to work for us, I've got to tell you. But you mentioned you played for Gillingham. Just put into words what it would mean, which is what I believe is going to happen on Sunday. You're going to score the winning goal in the 89th minute. How would that feel if that was to happen?
Oh, it'd be a mixture of feelings. I don't know how I'd feel. Of course, I'd be over the moon, you know, beating our old team. But Gillingham do still have a place in my heart. I'm going to be honest, I was there for a very long time, and they were good to me. But I just think, no, it would be amazing to be able to be that team that's in tier 5, beating a team that's in tier 3. We're complete underdogs going into that game. So I think anyone scoring, getting a win would just be an amazing feeling, and just such a credit to everything that's going on at Millwall at the moment. The coaches, everyone who puts the time into us, like, we appreciate so much. So it's like, it's our turn to kind of give back now. And of course, like, the prize pot for that win is really nice as well. So, you know, any help that we can possibly get financially as well is always a bonus. So yeah,
of course,
really looking forward to it. Looking forward to it.
Believe Jade, Jade, and it will happen.
100%. We're very organised. We've set up. We know we've got a game plan, and I genuinely think we can go there and they can come to us and we can beat them. I do genuinely believe that.
Well, let's make it 11 out of 11.
Hello, Jade. George here, and I don't hate everybody. I just hate Pat and Ted. So, I mean, you've got this really big game. You've got this really big game Sunday at St Paul's. You know, I mean, as you said, they're 2 tiers above you. I mean, are all you ladies really looking forward to this game and how it's going to unfold?
Yeah, 100%. As I said, we've got quite a few girls that have come through from the youth team. So I know that there's some like 16, 17, 18-year-olds that play with us. And for them, this is probably going to be one of the biggest games they've played in so far in women's football. Like, this is going to be their first season up in the women's game. And it just kind of allows them to test themselves against opposition of that level. And it shows, you know, hopefully it will show that we're not a million miles away from that level. So if we can get promoted this season and try and push on, who knows what can happen? Like, hopefully back-to-back promotions, who knows?
Yeah, but, Jack's got connections with Gillingham also, hasn't he?
Yes, he does. Yeah. I was there with him for quite a while, which is where I first met Jack at Gillingham. So there's quite a few girls as well that have been at Gillingham. So there's quite a bit of a
that will add a little edge to it, sort of thing.
100%. I know all the girls. A lot of the girls know us, so it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a great game, a really great game. That's why we just need as much support as we possibly can, just to be that 12th woman kind of thing. So,
let's hope there's a big crowd there for you, Jaden. But also, can you just say to the girls, a mad woman running around asking them for a photo every 5 minutes while they're out on the pitch. Because that would be Pat.
No, we love anything like that would be great. That would be amazing. It all adds to it. Getting photos done and, with the kids coming along as well would be great.
Excellent. Jade, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, and I love your enthusiasm. It's fantastic. But
thank you so much.
The main lot are playing Preston at the weekend. Do you follow the first team much? And obviously we need a prediction for Saturday as well.
Yeah, so I do look at results and have seen how they've been doing this season. I saw there was a time where we were doing really well, and I've seen over the past couple of weeks it's kind of not been many goals scored. So hopefully that changes this weekend. So I guess based on recent results, I'm going to probably sit on the fence and say 0-0. But I'm hoping that Millwall can get a goal and make it a 1-0 win to Millwall.
We'd all take that. Thanks, Jade. It's been great to hear from you. Wish you all the best for Sunday and also for the rest of the season.
Thank you so much, guys.
You'll have to get you back at the end of the season to talk about how the season's gone and maybe do a little bit of a review with you. So that'd be lovely.
Promotion.
Yes.
100%. 100%.
And the FA Cup. Don't forget to bring the FA Cup with you, Jake.
And running the line. Don't forget about
running the flag.
And the shirt as well.
Yeah.
All the best, Jade. All the best.
Take care. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
We'll take a break there and listen to Bethany Warren talking about Pat's amazing matchday programme.
Hi, Bethany here. Want a matchday programme? You'll find them with sellers outside the ground by the gates at Zampa Road, Stockholm Road and Senegal Road. They cost £1 and the sellers ask if you can have the right money, as change will be difficult. If you want to get a message, photos of special events, memorials or just ones for good luck to be included, email smprogram@protonmail.com. That is smprogramme@protonmail.com. It's a great read.
I'm your host, Gary Staff, and I have with me the No One Likes Us talking team of Patricia Maslin, Ted Robinson and George Lampy. Make sure you get your programmes at the weekend, well, when we return after the World Cup, that is. But have your pounds and your fivers with you. And as Pat said, if you want to overpay, you know it's all going to a good cause. We all look forward to the next home game. But in the meantime, here are a few matters of interest for Millwall fans.
Right, first off, don't forget the Lionesses face National League side Gillingham at St Paul's Sports Ground, Salter Road, Rotherham. Oh, got me. Rotherhithe, sorry. In the Women's FA Cup. Yeah, you don't want to be going up there, people. No, it's definitely Rotherhithe in the Women's FA Cup next Sunday. It's a 3 p.m. kickoff, so why not get along and support Jade Keogh, Grace Seeley and the whole team as they look to reach the next round. Be wary of a mad woman running around taking photos. Anyway, also, why not watch the Three Lions at the Den in the 1885 Club Lounge when they take on Iran, the USA and Wales in England's World Cup Qatar 2022 group stage fixtures. For just £5 per adult and £3 per under 18, you can back the boys in the company of fellow Millwall supporters. Your ticket price will include one drink. Woo! Beer, wine or non-alcoholic. Oh, I don't know about that. Whilst a limited menu of hot food will be available to purchase. Tickets for these screenings will need to be purchased in advance on the Millwall ticketing website under the tag events. Tickets will go off sale 2 hours prior to kick-off. And it's good night from me.
Next week, there will be no show as we take a break for the World Cup, as does the EFL Championship. We will return on the 8th of December at 8 o'clock. When Gary will host Dave, Bethany and also myself, and there will be a review of our game and a couple of guests too. Don't miss it. Additionally, Millwall will host a Bromby IF, I don't know what the IF stands for, in a friendly match during the World Cup break at the Den on Saturday, the 26th of November. Kick-off 1 o'clock, which is early, so remember that, guys. Tickets are now on general sale. Tickets are priced at £10 for adults, £7 for over 63, so you're in there, Ted, you're laughing. £7 for 18 to 21s and a fiver for under 18s. There are 3 easy ways to buy tickets. You can go online at millwalltickets.com, book your fee there. You do pay a booking fee for this by phone and select option 1, or else you can just turn up at the door and buy them at on the turnstiles. In person at Millwall Ticket Office. That's good night from me, and enjoy your World Cup, everybody.
You heard from our sponsored Lionesses, Jade Keogh and Grace Seeley at the beginning of the show. So why not sponsor a Lionesses kit? Like us to help them get back where they belong. If you're an organisation, you can get a fantastic exposure opportunities for your business. On top of seeing your name on the club website, you will be able to enjoy a range of benefits. Signed shirt, meet your sponsored player, 3 invitations to a VIP sponsored day, a free season ticket to all home games, and a presentation photo kit sponsorship is priced at £160 plus VAT. To purchase, get in touch with the Lionesses by emailing kwebster@millwallcommunity.org.uk. I'll say that again, that's kwebster@millwallcommunity.org.uk. Good night.
Don't forget, you'll be able to listen to the No One Likes Us Talking team bring reports from our games, both home and away, for both the Lions and the Lionesses, and also giving updates on Millwall community matters on Maritime Radio, broadcasting on 96.5 FM. Additionally, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter and other social media sites, and all popular podcast sites too. That's it from me. Thanks, Pat.
Good night.
Thanks, Ted.
She's gone to sleep then. Good night, Gal.
Thanks, George.
Good night.
Finally, let's not forget to keep it safe on the streets out there. Good night from me. See you back on the 8th of December.
They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. But the going down of the sun, and in the morning we will remember them.